In February of 1964, 1,564 Czech Torah scrolls arrived at Kent House, a Victorian townhouse in Knightsbridge, London, that houses Westminster Synagogue. If you know London, it's just on the other side of a piece of land where you might find Harrods, and it's just opposite Hyde Park. These scrolls came from the Jewish Museum in Prague, a museum founded in 1906 by the Jews of that city. And while there has been a widely disseminated story that the museum was founded by the Nazis to mark what they wished to be the extinct Jewish race, this is in fact untrue. It is myth. What is true, though, about the museum is that the largest expansion of its collection did in fact occur during the war, during the tragic circumstances, when almost all the Judaica books, manuscript, and archival documents of the former Jewish communities in the Protectorate of Bohemia and Moravia were gathered in the depositories of the Central Jewish Museum in Prague. The Torah scrolls that arrived in London were in varying states of disrepair. They had been stored in different places in Prague throughout the years and in really lousy places during the communist era. They reached London by a miraculous combination through a sale made by an art dealer, the combination of an art dealer, a rabbi, and a philanthropic member of Westminster Synagogue. Really fortuitous. And in 1964, it was decided that these scrolls would be given to other synagogues on permanent loan. The decision was made to give the scrolls a second life, to go from the past to the tragic fate of their original owners and bring them to the future, to the active life of Jewish congregations throughout the world. In February 1964, those first scrolls reached London, and they were met by Rabbi Harold Reinhardt, the rabbi of Westminster Synagogue. Rabbi Reinhardt and members of the synagogue unloaded them and set out to coordinate the little brown tags that you might see on photos, or Onik Shabbat, photos from the museum, set out to coordinate the small brown labels from the museum in Prague with the numbers on the rollers and get any information they could. Didn't have much. Sort of miraculously, soon after the scrolls arrived, there was a knock on the door of the synagogue. It was opened to find an itinerant sofer, a scribe, looking for work. He said, "Do you have any Sifrei Torah? Do you have any Torah scrolls that may need attention?" They said, "Come in. We have a lot of scrolls." He said, "Let's talk." There were 1,564 scrolls. That scribe, that sofer, stayed for over 25 years. A database was set up, and other scribes joined him as they examined the scrolls. And in 1965, a gathering was held for the Anglo-Jewish community to see the scrolls, and requests poured in from across the globe as awareness of the trust that was created became known across the globe. Rabbi Reinhardt and a woman named Ruth Schaefer began the trust, and their work was continued by others, notably Rabbi Albert Friedlander and his wife Evelyn Friedlander, who are behind the museum that we can see today, and you can see today if you were to go to London. In 1988, the Czech Memorial Scrolls Museum opened in that building. Evelyn Friedlander had a dream to open a proper museum. Previously, there were some articles and photos and things tacked up on the wall. Today, you can see, and I've seen it, many of you maybe have, some of you may have as well, a powerful display of scrolls. You can learn of their history, and you can also see a beautiful display of Torah binders, of wimples. And as you look at those and the images on them, sometimes words on them, we gain glimpses of the life of these scrolls and their history through their textiles, their design. Our NSCI Czech scroll is from Pardubice, and was written in about 1850. It's not easy to find information about Jewish life in Pardubice, but we're told that Jewish life was recorded there from at least the 16th century. In 1662, Jews were expelled from the town, and a Jewish community was founded there in 1859. In 1942, all of the Jews of Pardubice were sent to Theresienstadt. There was no more Jewish community. After the Second World War, a community was reestablished, and it was disbanded in the 1980s. Our Czech Torah scroll, the one we'll dedicate tonight, came to NSCI in 1967 under the leadership of Rabbi Edgar Siskin. Here we are 55 years later, and on the day after Yom HaShoah, on this Shabbat in which we rededicate our Sefer Torah, we affirm our commitment to what is called the 614th commandment, that is, to not hand Hitler a posthumous victory. We are told not just to survive the Holocaust, but to remember with the entirety of our being the martyrs of the Holocaust, lest their memories perish. Indeed, Evelyn Friedlander's goal was to give life to the scrolls, new life. By using the scrolls, we contribute to the world today. Indeed, this evening we affirm the life of this our Czech Torah scroll as we dedicate it and rededicate it. As we do this, we will state the names of loved ones of our families. We will hold that scroll as we pass it to some of the members of our community who have connections to the Shoah. And as we pass it and hold it, we will be echoing or living the words, it is a tree of life to those who hold fast to it, and all its supporters are happy. Indeed, we of NSCI will remember the Shoah with all of our being as we hold this Torah with all of our being.